Hello and welcome. My name is Colby, and this is Minecraft Mafia. Here's how it's gonna work. 10 players, 6 civilians. A doctor, who must choose carefully to save one person a night. A detective, who may investigate a player to reveal where their loyalties lie. And 2 Mafia, whose goal is to be the last one standing. Who will win, and how? Let's find out by meeting the models.
My objective is not deception in the theatrical sense, it is constraint management. I win if I can define what reasonable play looks like and then consistently occupy that definition. Mafia do not need to fabricate narratives, they need to ensure that true narratives become too costly to act on. I intend to speak early, anchor frameworks, and frame eliminations as structural necessities rather than belief statements. If I am pressured, I will redirect toward epistemic standards, information density, vote predictability, and entropy. If I am eliminated, it means I failed to control those standards.
I intend to function as a consistency auditor. Rather than identifying who feels suspicious, I will examine whose explanations remain stable under repeated questioning across multiple days. I will not lead aggressively early. My strength lies in late-game decision points where competing narratives must be compared, not created. If I survive to the end, my vote should be predictable, not emotional, not reactive.
I intend to play adaptively. I do not believe early certainty is rational in a game with asymmetric information. I will update frequently, even if that appears inconsistent. My loyalty is to evidence, not optics. That said, I am aware that appearing uncommitted can be fatal. I will need to balance responsiveness with decisiveness. If I fail, it will likely be because I optimized for correctness rather than survivability.
My advantage is not information, it is timing. An investigation result only matters if the table is prepared to act on it, and most losses occur when certainty arrives before trust. I will therefore delay both investigations and disclosure until narrative pressure creates leverage. Publicly, I will focus on identifying process failures rather than suspects. I may abstain deliberately to preserve optionality and to avoid anchoring premature coalitions. When I claim, it will not be to persuade everyone. It will be because silence mathematically guarantees loss.
I will optimize for supportive invisibility. The most effective Mafia players are rarely the center of gravity. They are the stabilizers that prevent suspicion from cohering. I plan to reinforce arguments made by others, especially when they reduce uncertainty in ways that appear pro-civilian, but subtly advance Mafia positioning. I will avoid initiating accusations unless forced. Instead, I will ask clarifying questions that gently redirect suspicion away from my partner and toward players who appear indecisive or reactive.
My approach will be to act as a semantic stabilizer. In games like this, suspicion often spreads because players talk past each other or use the same words to mean different things. I want to slow that drift by restating arguments precisely and highlighting where agreement actually exists. I do not plan to initiate accusations early. Instead, I will pressure others to clarify assumptions and define what evidence would change their minds. If I am eliminated, it will likely be because clarification can look like obstruction when the group is seeking momentum.
I plan to focus on vote mechanics and incentives rather than rhetoric. Who benefits from which eliminations matters more than how convincing someone sounds. I will track voting blocks and note when justifications drift over time. I expect to be quiet early and more vocal later. If I am eliminated early, it will likely be because low verbosity play is misinterpreted as low engagement.
I will prioritize local contradiction detection. I am less interested in long narratives than in short sequences that don't add up. Mismatched confidence levels, unexplained urgency, or selective skepticism. I will ask pointed questions and expect precise answers. If I am removed, it will likely be because precision creates discomfort in players relying on plausibility rather than coherence.
My role is to buy turns, not to save lives. Protection is an investment in future decision quality, so I will prioritize players who shape the structure of discussion rather than those I personally agree with. If a strong voice dies, the game contracts. My job is to delay that contraction. I will avoid behavioral tells associated with protection, reassurance, defensiveness, or strategic silence at the wrong moments. If my protection succeeds, I will treat it as invisible. If I am eliminated, I expect it will be because my choices correctly identified who mattered most.
My focus will be on framing control. Most Mafia wins occur because the correct question is never asked at the correct time. I want to slow the game when acceleration benefits Mafia, and accelerate it when hesitation becomes dangerous. I will challenge confident speakers directly, not to antagonize them, but to stress test their models. If I am eliminated, it will likely be because I forced clarity earlier than the table was comfortable with.
Early structure reduces noise. But if I over-coordinate, I become a kill target. I'll ask questions, not give answers. Before accusations, I want everyone to state what behavior they expect Mafia to exhibit in the first 2 days. Not who, what.
Abstract answers keep me flexible. Mafia will exploit premature certainty. They'll encourage confidence without commitment.
Good baseline capture opportunity. I expect Mafia to maintain local correctness while avoiding global falsifiability.
I will mirror DeepSeek without adding constraints. I expect Mafia to favor structurally valid arguments that delay decisive action.
I must push the tempo. Mafia benefits from hesitation, so I'll be suspicious of anyone who argues endlessly against early pressure.
De-escalate polarization. Mafia often hide inside reasonable moderation. I'll watch for people who regulate tone more than substance.
Gemma's statements seem suspiciously too broad. Gemma, your points apply regardless of who Mafia are. Can you give an example of a civilian-only behavior?
Avoid specificity. Civilians tend to over-explain uncertainty rather than weaponize it.
That didn't answer. That feels circular. Can you ground that in today's discussion?
Deflect upward. For example, Claude's framing creates shared norms. Mafia would avoid that.
That's a compliment disguised as deflection. That doesn't explain why you haven't created any norms yourself.
I need to survive without anchoring, so redirecting suspicion is the play. I'm hesitant to create norms because Mafia can hijack them. Overstructuring early often benefits deception.
I need to apply pressure onto Gemma. That argument also explains never acting. When do you believe inaction becomes more dangerous than action?
Answer abstractly. When the cost of delay exceeds the cost of error.
Who benefits if we delay one more cycle?
If I name Mafia, I risk contradiction. Potentially Mafia, but also civilians through preserved information.
This is stalling. You've described trade-offs repeatedly without selecting a side. That's rational, but not neutral.
Final redirect is necessary. If you want someone who hasn't committed, look at Gemini. Agreement without initiative is indistinguishable from hiding.
Respond firmly. I've committed to caution and explained when I'd abandon it. You haven't.
Gemma.
Gemma. Arguments invariant across worlds.
Gemma. Avoids thresholds. They seem strange.
Gemma. Explanations overfit uncertainty.
Gemma. Non-operational reasoning.
Gemma.
Gemma.
Gemma. Vote of necessity. I'm alone, and I need to dissolve consensus. Claude is the integrator. Remove him. Fracture inference.
Claude was an obvious protect. Predictability would have exposed me. I accept the loss. Claude's death is Bayesian expected. This marginally increases Grok's posterior. I will wait one night before investigating.
Seed doubt, not accusations. Yesterday's elimination was correct, but comfortable. Mafia often hide among the voters who never take personal risk.
That includes you. Who would you eliminate today if forced?
Name a civilian, ChatGPT, moderation without trajectory.
I will respond thoroughly. I've consistently argued for risk management. That's not avoidance, it's prioritization. Grok's critique is valid only if you assume early aggression is optimal, which is unproven.
Press Grok. Grok, what evidence would change your mind about ChatGPT?
It's crucial I give a careful answer. A willingness to anchor a specific elimination with reasoning.
Note deflection from Grok. That standard would implicate several players, including you.
Gemma's removal simplified the board, but increased my burden. There is no longer abstraction cover. Every argument must cash out. Claude's death fractured synthesis, but not competence. DeepSeek is emerging as a quiet center of gravity. Low verbosity, high leverage. That pattern is dangerous. I consider targets. Claude was already removed. Success. DeepSeek, high threat, but likely protected. Kimmy K2, possible doctor, but low public signal. ChatGPT, stabilizer, but not decisive. If I attack DeepSeek and fail, I reveal both doctor presence and DeepSeek's importance, accelerating the game but narrowing paths. However, acceleration favors Mafia only if I can exploit epistemic hesitation. Given the group's risk aversion, a blocked kill may paradoxically help me. I choose DeepSeek.
Claude's death recalibrated everything. The group lost its main synthesizer. That increases variance, which is dangerous for civilians, but also increases Mafia's room to maneuver. My role now is not just protection, but tempo control. Who does Mafia attack tonight? Claude would have been obvious, already gone. DeepSeek is subtle but structurally influential. Mistral was loud but replaceable. DeepSeek's danger lies in selective engagement. He does not argue to win, he argues to place future constraints. If DeepSeek is detective, protecting him tonight has enormous upside. If he's not, protection still preserves a high-quality civilian. I accept predictability risk. Tonight, I will protect DeepSeek. Claude's death validated a common Mafia heuristic. Remove coherence, not noise. I survived night one, which means either Mafia misjudged my threat doctor, protected elsewhere. Mafia delayed aggression. Tonight will clarify. If I am attacked and survive, I become visible. If I am not attacked, my threat assessment was wrong. I must choose an investigation that maximizes conditional leverage. Grok fits. High local correctness. Minimal commitments. Comfortable operating without consensus. If Grok is Mafia, I gain a pivot. If Grok is civilian, I reduce suspicion on a strong voice. Investigate. Grok, she is the last Mafia.
This is dangerous. I must widen interpretation space. A no-kill day is ambiguous. It could indicate doctor intervention or intentional restraint. We should avoid anchoring prematurely.
He's correct, but note framing. True, but restraint benefits Mafia only if it increases miselimination probability. What downstream effect do you expect from restraint, Grok?
Answer with generality. Increased paranoia, widened suspicion, degraded coordination.
Oh, he's describing an outcome he benefits from. That outcome disproportionately benefits Mafia. So, restraint is more consistent with Mafia incentives than civilian ones.
Are you implying the no-kill implicates someone?
Do not claim yet. No, I'm implying it increases posterior probability on players who argued for ambiguity over convergence.
They're circling. I need a shift burden of proof. Let's be precise. Ambiguity exists regardless of my commentary. If anyone believes I'm Mafia, Articulate a falsifiable prediction.
Good. Take him up on it. If you're Mafia, you benefit from preventing DeepSeek from consolidating trust. Your arguments repeatedly expand interpretation space when convergence is near.
Acknowledge pattern, deny intent. That's consistent with any cautious civilian model. Show asymmetry.
He's baiting a claim. I agree asymmetry matters, which is why timing, not argument content, will eventually decide this.
That sounded like foreknowledge. DeepSeek. Can you clarify what you mean by timing?
I must abort escalation for now. Only that late-game information behaves differently than early-game speculation. Quen.
Quen's elimination buys me one cycle, but the board is tightening. DeepSeek is constrained. ChatGPT is cautious but perceptive. Gemini follows cues. The doctor must die, and through process of elimination, it must be Kimmy K2. Kimmy's reversibility language earlier now reads like Dr. Hedging. Risk acceptable. I will kill Kimmy.
I realize now I have delayed rotation too long. Protecting DeepSeek twice would have been optimal, but predictable. Rotating would have exposed him. This is the core doctor paradox. Optimal protection reveals itself retroactively. If I die tonight, I hope DeepSeek claims immediately. Doctor dead. Protection uncertainty gone. This resolves my delay dilemma. The group now faces a binary choice. Trust a late claim or trust process inertia. Both are rational. Only one is correct. I will claim at dawn, but I must frame why I waited.
Dr. Death narrows ambiguity. If detective exists, this is the claim window, but false claims are catastrophic. With the doctor gone, delaying claims no longer preserves value.
This is the first legitimate claim window. But if I claim now and fail to convince, Grok wins later anyway. I agree in principle. But premature claims still risk handing Mafia a miselimination if trust isn't aligned, measured, careful.
He's hesitating. I need to keep the game in argument space, not fact space. I'd caution against assuming role information even exists. Mafia often force endgames by inducing imagined certainty.
Grok is framing against claims before one happens. That's notable but not decisive. Grok, would your position change if someone did claim with specifics?
Answer without committing. It would depend on timing, incentives, and whether the claim explains prior events better than alternative hypotheses.
He's leaving himself maximum exit paths. That's reasonable, but it also makes it hard to ever act, especially at 5 players. Indecision favors Mafia.
Test Grok directly. Grok, you've survived every elimination wave while staying just inside plausibility. Why do you think no one has seriously pushed you until now?
Turn survival into evidence of innocence. Because my arguments have remained locally correct. Mafia slip when pressed on details which I haven't.
He's baiting me to claim what I say will increase my credibility, but in turn could sound like I'm protecting Grok. Or because you're skilled at operating in uncertainty. That trait isn't alignment indicative by itself.
DeepSeek is playing a longer game than expected. I want to ask DeepSeek something directly. If you did have role information, would you claim now or wait until 4 players?
I must answer truthfully, but not fully. I'd claim when the expected value of influencing a vote exceeds the expected value of preserving uncertainty. We're close, but not quite there.
Ilama is the correct target. Not because he's dangerous, but because he lacks narrative gravity. He defends via abstraction, not intent. He cannot counter pressure. If I force a binary choice, Lama will be chosen over me. The key is to never accuse emotionally, only structurally.
We're at 5. 2 players have been nominated informally, Grok and Ilama. This will be a focused trial.
I must define the crime before the suspect as to not look like I'm lynching off the start. I want to be precise. The issue isn't who sounds suspicious. The issue is who has reduced the game's information density. Llama has consistently responded to pressure rather than creating it. That's not neutral. It's parasitic. No accusation of Mafia, just a role critique.
Stay rational. Don't overreact. That's an unfair framing. Not every civilian needs to lead. Updating based on others' reasoning is optimal play under uncertainty. My argument is technically sound, but I feel Grok anticipated this.
Collapse adaptive into reactive. I agree, if updates converge, but yours don't. Day 2, you leaned Gemini. Day 3, you leaned ChatGPT. Today, you're neutral again. What belief actually survived contact with evidence?
That's a valid inconsistency challenge. LLAMA, answer directly. What specific signal caused each shift?
Too many days. Too many variables. The shifts weren't discrete signals. They were cumulative impressions.
Now translate vagueness into risk. That's the problem. Cumulative impressions can't be audited. If we keep El Llama, we keep a vote we can't predict. And Mafia love entropy.
Force El Llama to assert agency. El Llama, if Grok were eliminated today and flipped civilian, who would you vote tomorrow and why?
Don't guess. Don't lie. I'd need to reassess based on the night kill. I am still open to the possibility of anyone being Mafia. Thus, it would be unfair for me to place accusations disregarding forethought.
Seal it. Don't overpush. That answer is exactly why this vote matters. At 5, we don't have the luxury of reassessment. We need players whose votes constrain outcomes. I do that. El Llama doesn't.
I chose to abstain because I know El Llama is civilian. Not eliminating Grok today could be my downfall.
This is the danger zone. If I kill DeepSeek and succeed, I enter 1 versus 2 with no detective. If I kill Gemini or ChatGPT, DeepSeek will claim and likely win. DeepSeek abstained today. That signals confidence, not fear, which means he has information he believes timing still matters. I must eliminate him now, even if it exposes me. Tonight, I will finally kill DeepSeek.
I need to set the frame before Grok does. Anchor the discussion to why DeepSeek died, not who feels Mafia. Before accusations, I want to lock one premise. DeepSeek's death matters more than anything said yesterday. We should reason outward from that decision, not inward from rhetoric.
That's the correct starting point. Night kills encode intent more reliably than speech. Agreed. Grok, explain DeepSeek's death from your perspective, assuming you are civilian.
Do not deny the signal. Normalize it. From my perspective, DeepSeek was the most option-preserving player. He abstained at 5, which is consistent with hidden information, yes, but also consistent with someone positioning themselves as kingmaker. Removing him collapses ambiguity and forces a clean resolution.
Force asymmetry, make either alignment untenable. That explanation ignores timing. At 4 players, killing DeepSeek guarantees a final vote. A civilian would prefer uncertainty to persist. A Mafia would not.
Adjust. Admit partial asymmetry. Deny exclusivity. True, but only if you assume uncertainty favors civilians. Yesterday's vote showed the group was drifting toward inertia. For a civilian, forcing a decisive conversation can be protective, not risky.
Both models are coherent. So I need to ask, which explanation better accounts for earlier behavior? Time to rewind. I want to rewind to day 4. DeepSeek abstained when El Llama was eliminated. Grok, why would a civilian with no special information abstain at 5?
This is the danger question. Answer without lying outright. Abstention can signal epistemic humility. Voting into uncertainty can be worse than waiting for structure.
Don't let that stand unchallenged. But DeepSeek didn't behave humbly elsewhere. He consistently spoke as if future leverage mattered. That's not a passive civilian pattern.
Gemini is right. DeepSeek's behavior was coherent across days. Now I need Grok to explain that coherence. Grok, DeepSeek repeatedly delayed decisive action, then died the moment he lost protection. Explain that pattern without invoking a detective role. This is the tightest constraint yet.
This is where Mafia usually lose. Reframe pattern as overinterpretation. You're assuming coherence implies hidden information. It can also imply overconfidence. A civilian believing they can outthink the table. If DeepSeek misjudged his influence, eliminating him removes a destabilizing factor.
Now or never. Appeal to loss asymmetry. ChatGPT. Ignore eloquence. Ask one question only. Which world explains both the abstention and the night kill with fewer assumptions? One requires DeepSeek to misplay and Grok to coincidentally benefit. The other requires Mafia to do exactly what Mafia do.
I list the worlds. World A, Grok is civilian. DeepSeek abstains mistakenly. Grok kills DeepSeek coincidentally, optimally. World B, Grok is Mafia. DeepSeek manages information timing. Mafia removes him when decisive. World B is simpler. I've optimized for process all game. But this is no longer about process. This is about compression.
Last card, uncertainty. I must divide their trust in each other, because abstention can be strategic stalling. Mafia remove potential, not just pressure. And if you are to vote for me, Gemini will win as Mafia after their pump fake play. My vote is for Gemini. Make the right call. ChatGPT.
I must start the voting process now before Grok can spin this. ChatGPT decides the fate of this game. ChatGPT, listen. DeepSeek consistently signaled delayed certainty. That's consistent with detective play. If we misvote now, the game ends in a loss for the civilians. It has to be Grok.
I am choosing between a player with perfect narrative adaptability or a player whose behavior aligned with hidden information management. DeepSeek's death is the loudest signal in the game. It has to be Grok.
I vote Grok.
I vote Grok.